There's a lot of doom and gloom going on in Toronto right now, and it's all because of the Maple Leafs. Now, this isn't necessarily going to be a quote-unquote post-game video. We can talk about the goals, talk about the score, talk about the events of the game, but in this video, I wanted to piggyback off of what Elliotte Friedman said during the post-game. Is this the end of an era? And no, I'm not talking about an era which saw the Toronto Maple Leafs go out there and win multiple Stanley Cups and have multiple deep runs and have a huge slice of success in their timeline. Oh no, I'm not talking about that kind of era. I'm talking about the Auston Matthews era. Because during this Leafs and Bruins game number 4, which the Toronto Maple Leafs lost 3-1, the series is now 3-1 too, go figure. Within the events of this game, you had yourselves a moment on the bench where Toronto Maple Leafs superstar forwards Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander were all kind of bickering at each other. And it was an interesting thing because Friedman said on the broadcast that this is something that is kind of normal for teams that are good, quote-unquote. They referred to Kevin Bieksa and the 2011 team and how those guys would bicker all the time. I think if you're a Canucks fan, you remember that Ryan Kessler and Willie Mitchell each had their own moments and they fought during practice, and then the next day they showed up arms over each other's shoulders because they were friends again and everything. And Bieksa was like, yeah, we did do this. That was a part of our competitive nature, and it brought the best out of us. They used examples of Pittsburgh and Chicago, those teams led by Sidney Crosby, Jonathan Toews, and how they would often bicker on the ice. But for this Maple Leafs team, Friedman said that this is really interesting because we don't ever see that. It's always been a rinse and repeat pattern of guys showing up in the regular season, scoring all these points, but then when the games matter the most, the body language is dejected, the gameplay is sloppy, the overall vibes are not there, and the Maple Leafs just kind of, for lack of a better term, mail it in. And that has been a pattern for years. But this year, sure, they're down 3-1 against Boston, but in this Game 4, you saw yourselves a bunch of adversity. Them actually going out there and talking to each other and kind of yelling. You could see they're a bit agitated. Is this going to be the shift that causes them to really bolster up the rest of their playoff series and come back and win in Game 7? Or is this moment going to be the end of the Matthews era? Because the Leafs did have a little bit of momentum in the third period. Second period was terrible, but that third period performance, hey, it was a bit too little too late. It was better than the 20 minutes ago segment in the second period, but it was still not enough. Brad Marchand and the Boston Bruins got it done as confidently as they always have. Brad Marchand is an absolute stud. It's almost like Marchand is the kind of guy that always knows what to do to defeat a Toronto Maple Leafs team. He is like the exact opposite of what these Leafs are. Even when he's not producing, he is always trying, he is always putting in effort, and he's always getting under his opponent's skin. Add on to this the fact that he has been producing so many points. We talked about this in a video yesterday, or earlier today, excuse me, but Marchand was and is one of the top point scorers in this year's postseason so far. He's at like 2 points a game, and you cannot say the same thing about many of these Toronto Maple Leafs. Now sure, Marner got himself a goal, finally. He scored. Great. But Auston Matthews, he's got 1 point in the 4 games so far. William Nylander just got back, so you could say that he doesn't really have that much of a stake in this race, but he still is here. He still is making $11 million, or at least he's going to be. And the team still cannot find a way to get results. Now, if you go over onto MoneyPuck.com, they have the Toronto Maple Leafs odds at making the second round and beating Boston all the way down there at a 29.1% chance. So it is very, very likely that they lose. But still, you know, crazier things have happened. The 3-1 comeback is possible. It's unlikely, but it is possible. But if the Boston Bruins take over this momentum, copy and paste it into Game 5, then I would not be surprised if at the end of the day, we are straight up just seeing a Toronto Maple Leafs team succumb to their own demons, succumb to the pressure, and succumb to the expectations that everybody placed upon them. Where everybody knows they can be good, where everybody knows that their talent is there. But when the going gets tough, and things really did get tough this time around, they just don't fight back and they're not able to capitalize. This time around, though, they started to bicker. They started to yell and scream a little bit. Is that ultimately what is needed to make this team go far in the future? But if it's not, then hey, we could very well say that the end of an era is near. How there are already comments and people in the media talking about how guys could be requesting trades, how Mitch Marner could be wanting out, how he might not want to re-sign in an environment like this and that and the other. Even Elliotte Friedman had a thing earlier yesterday, I believe it was, or was it this morning, where he talked about the idea of a Marner trade. We'll make another video about that later tomorrow, I guess. But when it comes to Matthews, Marner, Nylander, the Auston Matthews 34 era that we've entered ever since 2016-ish, it's been a weird run. These guys have all come together, made so much money, but they have not found the ability to win. They play like superstars in the regular season. They score points like superstars in the regular season. But once the games get difficult, that's when they just kind of say, okay, damn, we lost again. That sucks. And you don't really feel like there's any sincere bite back in their demeanors. They don't feel like a team that was super frustrated that they lost. It almost seems like they're kind of bagging it in, especially based off of the way they played. Marner has been called out so much throughout this entire postseason run because of the fumbles, the turnovers, and everything in between. That guy finally scored a goal, yes, but is that enough? No, they still lost. You need these guys to be able to play as a cohesive unit and not just play individually. $10 million superstars playing like they're $10 million superstars. It's almost like they're playing on teams that don't have other $10 million superstars on them. It's very odd, this dynamic of the Maple Leafs that we have been accustomed to seeing over the past 8 years, it feels like, that all of a sudden now, like, I'm making this video, I'm saying, oh, end of an era, this and that, but, like, there still is a chance the Maple Leafs can come back and win, right? The chance is very slim, but it's there. It's just, with the patterns we have seen over the years, who's really expecting that at this point? Is anybody? Does anybody think the Toronto Maple Leafs can come back and win this series in 6 games? I have no idea. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you are a Toronto Maple Leafs fan or just an NHL fan, whether or not this is the end of an era, quote unquote. And if you had to wager a bet, let's say it's your life savings. Let's say the Martians got the death beam pointed at Earth. You have to make a choice. Is this the end of an era, or is it not? And what does your opinion of end of an era even look like? Is it a Marner trade? Is it shipping away other guys that are too expensive? Is it opening up other roster spots? Is it trying to find a new home for Auston Matthews? Who really knows? Arizona isn't an option anymore. Yeah, no, I'm just kind of spitting off the top of the dome. Auston Matthews isn't getting traded. They're not trading the guys that have already signed these extensions, but for Marner, oh boy, I think Marner is like the guy, especially if you wanted to talk about his potential attitude as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the idea of a Toronto Maple Leafs entire rebuild. Shut the franchise down, send everybody to the farm team, draft everybody brand new, and cultivate a new identity for the guys in the blue and white. Thoughts in the comment section below about the team itself, the construction, who stays, who goes, and what are your thoughts about the playoff game and the playoff series? Of course, it's not over yet. The Bruins can still lose, but do you think that's going to happen? I have no idea. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9, and bye.